Yep.
So then I see him 2 days ago. I was talking at another club, very nice club, and like this, except I don't know. I think you people are probably even wealthier. Okay, this was in Detroit.
I was just saying, you know, it's high net worth in that room.
And I was showing them all sorts of charts about how their car, it's just gone down. It's like terrible. And I saw him, and I said, "Oh, how are you doing? How have you been?" I said, "Could I ask you, how are those plants that you mentioned, those giant plants that you're building in Mexico, how is that coming along? Have you finished them?" "No, sir. They abandoned the project when they heard you're running. They abandoned the project when they saw that you were winning and doing well." I said, "Wow."
Maybe that's not the best idea.
I told them, and I said it publicly, they're not going to sell one car into the United States. I said, if I run this country, if I'm going to be president of this country, I'm going to put a 100, 200, 2,000.
And make sure to like the video, guys. So go ahead and double tap that screen or the three dots up there in the corner, man. Let's go ahead and like the video. Let's get more people on the conversation, man. Let's go.
And quickly to that point about tariffs, like I said, he's using it as a tool. He said, I'll put 100, 200, 2,000% tariff. And it's really just to get your ass in line. It's to the point where I'm going to tariff and tax you so hard, you're going to have no choice but to move back domestically.
Yeah. And then for these other countries that want to sell their products in here, it's either you going to accept these tariffs or you're going to bring your business and your jobs over here to America.
Country, if I'm going to be president of this country, I'm going to put a 100, 200, 2,000% tariff. They're not going to sell one car into the United States because we're not going to destroy our country because I know you're an anti-tariff guy, but I'm the exact opposite. If I had, there is no other way I could have stopped them other than, what am I going to do, negotiate with Mexico or China? You're not going to get anything from them. I said I'm going to put a 100, 200, or 300. I'm going to put the highest tariff in history, meaning I'm going to stop them from ever selling a car into the United States. So I just see the guy by accident. I see him. He says, "Sir, they've abandoned those." And by the way, they built foundations. They were really rocking. They were going to do it. They thought that I was going to win, or maybe they're just holding off. I tell you this, if I don't win, those factories are going to wipe out this country. They're the biggest factories ever built for cars. They're going to wipe out our country. If she wins, and she doesn't know what the hell she's doing. If she wins, she's not going to be thinking about, I couldn't, every speech I made having to do with cars, but every speech I made having to do with tariffs, I'd mentioned that our country is being threatened by Mexico. Now, all of those things, beyond even the car companies, all of those things are now dead. They're dead. I asked him, will they start? Probably not. They're dead as a doornail. If she gets in, it'll start up again.
President Trump, I'll let you give your example.
No,
you talked a lot about tariffs. You look at the American economy, 40 million jobs rely on trade. It accounts for 27% of GDP.
Okay.
If you cut that off, that's also going to have an effect on many, many business people here.
Yeah.
Tariffs also have another side. Isn't that something that you have to acknowledge?
No.
You could be plunging America into the biggest trade war since Smoot-Hawley.
But there are no tariffs.
You're going to stop. There are tariffs already at the moment.
There are no tariffs. All you have to do is build your plant in the United States, and you don't have any tariffs.
But people, a lot of places like this, they rely. There are a lot.
Oh, they clap for Trump on that one. It was and they're businessmen here. They're probably American businessmen who realize the grime.
Might be some CEOs.
It's like, hold on, bro. I'm over here damn near having to cut quality costs and all this good stuff to keep up with the foreigners, and they're not even getting taxed to be over here. Because if they were getting taxed to be over here, then yeah, I would have a competitive advantage, but I don't. Like, there's a lot of business people who actually feel that pain. But like I said, you'd have to be a business owner to be able to understand the inner workings of how tariffs affect business owners, the economy, and your prices.
And it's very dense to say that a former president of the United States doesn't know the inner workings of a tariff, how they're carried about, and, the trickle-down effect of one. I mean, it's probably safer to assume that you're a little bit ill-informed or misinformed on how a tariff truly works, versus the man who knows how they're implemented, knows how they work.
And it's worked for us.
A lot of jobs that rely on foreigners coming here. You're going to basically stop trade with China. You're talking about 60% tariffs on that. You're talking, as you said, 100, 200% on things you don't really like. You're also talking about 10, 20% tariffs on the rest of the world. That is going to have a serious effect on the overall economy. And yes, you're going to find some people who will gain from individual tariffs. the overall effect could be massive in terms of the
I
economy.
agree it's going to have a massive effect, positive effect. It's going to be a positive, not a negative.
Well, just
let me just let me
Give
tell
me
you. I
an
know
example.
how committed you are to this, and it must be hard for you to spend 25 years talking about tariffs as being negative, and then have somebody explain to you that you're totally wrong. It'll have a negative. It will have.
He grilling them.
I'll go a step further.
40
if
million,
you don't
40
do
million,
this,
President
this
Trump,
country
40
has
million,
no
40
chance.
million jobs is a lot of jobs to rely on
They're
trade.
all coming back.
Those are
You've
40 million
lost.
jobs. Those are 40 million jobs in America that rely on
Are
trade.
you ready? John Deere, great company. They announced about a year ago they're going to build big plants outside of the United States, right? They're going to build them in Mexico.
And you threatened them
They're
with
also going
tariffs
to build.
and they stopped.
That's right. I said, if John Deere builds those plants, they're not selling anything into the United States. They just announced yesterday they're probably not going to
Al,
build
what's
the
going
plants,
on?
okay?
Thanks for joining,
I
bro.
keep the jobs here. And I'll keep John Deere will stay here. And I'll tell John Deere, if you do build outside of the United States, you can if you want. For instance, India is a very tough country. It's not only China. China is the, I would say, probably the toughest. But there are a lot of tough. You know what's very tough? European Union. Our beautiful European countries, wonderful, wonderful. If you add them up, they're almost the size of us. They treat us so badly. We have a deficit. I said to Angela Merkel when she was there, she's not there anymore.
Now, he was telling stories about like how the French was low key trying to like put a crazy tax on American products. But we didn't put like barely any tax on their products. And Trump had to call them up and be like, yo, we'll put a tax on all your wine, dog, if you don't remove this crazy tax you got going on American products. Like, what are you doing?
And tariffs have always been used as a tool historically to either get companies governing or just people to play and apply by your rules. Like, if anything, even if you say that tariffs affect citizens, what does citizens outrage do? Eventually affects the government, and the government eventually takes notice and they act in one way or another, right? So think about it. Historically, tariffs have always been used as a tool. It's nothing new, really.
Yeah, and to keep competition alive, because boy, if they could sell them too low, people are going to sacrifice. People are going to sacrifice quality for price.
Right.
Anymore. I wonder why. But when she was there, I said, Angela, how many Chevrolets do we have in Berlin? Why, Donald, you have none. He said, that's right. How many Fords do we have in Frankfurt? I don't know. None. I said, that's right. You know how many cars we have? Mercedes-Benz and BMW and all of the different Volkswagen. Millions and millions of cars. And then I said farm products. They don't want our farm products. They don't want anything from us. We have deficits that are crazy, and we're not going to have them anymore. We're going to put tariffs on them, and they're going to do, and you know what they can do? The Mercedes-Benz will start building in the United States, and they have a little bit, but you know what they really are? Assembly, like in South Carolina.
Yeah, I can see
but
that.
they build everything in Germany, and then they assemble it here. They get away with murder because they say, oh, yes, we're building cars. They don't build cars. They take them out of a box and they assemble them. We could have our child do it.
Can we come back? Let's come back to the Europeans in a second. What about consumers? People out there.
They're going to be the biggest beneficiaries.
Critics say your tariffs will end up being like a national sales tax.
Nope.
Because
the countries
if you have America at the moment has $3 trillion worth of imports, you're going to add tariffs to every single one of them. That is going to push up the cost for all those people who want to buy foreign goods.
No. What's going
that is
to
just
happen?
simple mathematics, President Trump.
It's not. Yeah, it is, but not the way you figure it. I was always very good at mathematics.
Yes.
Let me tell you, you're saying $3 trillion.
That's $3 trillion worth of imports.
And they don't have to pay. And if, by the way,
Yo,
the
Gito,
higher
what's
the
going on, dog?
tariff, the more likely it is to have them come into
The
the
higher
country.
the tariff, the more you're going to put on the value of that piece, those goods, the higher people are going to have to pay in shops.
Ready?
Hold on, that's what I'm saying. So the higher don't have to pay on these imported goods, so they gotta pay to do business in our country.
Understand this. With Trump's applied tariff plan, he will literally be imposing a tariff so large that the product will not sell over here. That's what y'all are missing.
Yeah.
If he literally joked and said, "I'll apply a 2,000% tariff if I have to." It's just to implement a way to really inhibit these countries or companies from being able to sell their products over here with the method that they're applying. Yeah. It's to get them to move back domestically. And there's incentive to move back over here. He's saying like, y'all move back over here. I'll make it tax friendly for y'all. Y'all will be in a better environment. I know the last previous administration kind of pushed y'all out. I know it's kind of been unfair. Get back over here. You'll avoid the tariff. I'll make it a tax-friendly environment for you, and that's how we're gonna do it.
Bro.
Otherwise, you're not even gonna be able to sell your product. It'll be too expensive for anybody to buy.
Bro, we could relate it to the cars, bro. We're talking about if American-made car, let's say that's 25,000, right? Japanese, Chinese-made car come in at 20,000. When we put these tariffs on it, it raises the price of the Japanese car, not the American car, but the Japanese car. And now people are actually going to go off quality or which one they actually think is better instead of over which one is cheaper. And we're just constantly giving our money to these foreigners because what? They provide a cheaper product?
And shout out Zen Master Me sending in a 99-cent super chat, first one of the show. Man, we appreciate you, dog.
Man. And shout out Clifton Lloyd. He said, here we go. Yeah, I already know.
Oh, yes, sir, man. We just getting started, just starting to cook up, man. We got over 1,800 of y'all in here already, man. Let's get the likes up. Double tap that screen. You can hit the 3 buttons in the upper right-hand corner, man. Show some support to the stream. Let's go.
The higher the tariff, the more likely it is that the company will come into the United States and build a factory in the United States so it doesn't have to pay the tariff.
That will take many, as you know, that will take many years.
In fact, I'll tell you, you know, there's another theory is that the tariff, you make it so high, so horrible, so obnoxious that they'll come right away. When I do the 10%, 10% is really, first of all, 10% when you collect it is hundreds of billions of dollars. The numbers that you're talking, all reducing our deficit. But really, so there's 2 ways of looking at a tariff. You can do it as a money-making instrument, or you can do it as something to get the companies. Now, if you want the companies to come in, the tariff has to be a lot higher than 10%, because 10% is not enough. Guys, they're not going to do it for 10. But you make a 50% tariff, they're going to come in. Let me tell you the other thing about tariffs that's great. Our steel companies, as you know, 3-4 years ago, they were all when I was in office, I saw a man from a big steel company, and he was devastated. I knew him for a long time, and it's been a tough business. It was a great business many years ago, and I would not let U.S. steel be sold to Japanese, by the way. It's psychologically, I think it would be.
That's the Nippon steel, as you know.
Yeah, I wouldn't let it be sold. But I would stop it if it hasn't been completed by the time I'm president, because I think it sets a horrible tone. But I had a lot to do with steel. We were going to lose all our steel companies because China, as you remember, was dumping steel at levels that nobody's ever seen before. And I put a 50% tax on that and tariff on that, all dumped steel. And it was also bad steel. It was what they call dirty steel. It wasn't good steel, which is a bad thing for structural components of buildings.
When he says bad steel, dirty steel, he's talking about recycled steel. So steel that's already been used and it's being repurposed. So yeah, you can imagine how that would be structurally damaging for any purpose that it'd be used for.
So things like that.
They were a little cautious in some of these houses.
Into our country. And I put a 50% tariff. I started at 25. I raised it to 50 because the 25 didn't quite do it. I raised it to 50, and that did it. They stopped dumping steel. And I saved our steel mills by having that. We saved it. We saved our steel. Now, what was left, because we've lost so much, but there are certain companies you have to have. There are certain things you have to have. Steel, you have to have. If you go to war, you know, there's a possibility you go to war. I kept us out of war. I was the only president in 82 years that kept you out of a war, except I defeated ISIS, but I inherited that war. No wars. And by the way, and I think it's very important. You can go, you know, I call it the weave. You can call it, you have the weave as long as you end up in the right location at the end. But while we're talking about it, we have never been so close to World War III as we are right now, with what's going on in Ukraine and Russia and the Middle East.
Well, let's.
I had no wars in the whole world. Think of it. And I talked them out of wars. I talked plenty of countries out of wars. I had the whole world, other than ISIS, which I inherited. And I knocked out ISIS in a matter of weeks. It was supposed to take 4 to 5 years. I did it in a matter of weeks. We actually have a great military. We don't know how to use it, but we have a great
President Trump, with great respect, I was asking you about tariffs. You've gone off about that. Seeing you brought up tariffs and foreign policy, many people would say the biggest problem with your tariffs is actually geopolitics. You, in your first term, you got some credit for effectively saying that there was a Cold War against China. That's what America was in. You look at the last Cold War against the Soviet Union, America won it in part because it rallied allies to it. You're talking about slamming allies with 30%, 20% tariffs. Isn't this time you're going to end up trying to rally the West and you're dividing it instead? Isn't that the real problem with tariffs, even beyond all the problems to the economy where you...
So why are you trying to make an emotional argument when it's all business? Oh, aren't you going to leave a bad taste in their mouth? Don't you think you're going to hurt their feeling? Like, I don't give a shit, bro. It's business at the end of the day. It's either we're going to profit off you selling products in our country, or you're going to move your ass over here and give us your jobs and you're going to pay this corporate tax. Either or. We don't care. No feelings involved. I don't care how we shouldn't care about how our allies feel about it. It's business. Like, bro, we can still be allies. We just not good business partners. And we ain't fighting. We just ain't trading. I can deal with that.
You keep on bringing up these individual examples, but the overall effect is going to be dramatic.
No, the overall
answer first about foreign policy.
Yeah, I'll do that.
How does it help you take on China, turning all your allies against you?
Tremendously, because China thinks we're a stupid country, a very stupid country. They can't believe that somebody finally got wise to them. Not one president, Bush, Obama, Barack Hussein Obama, have you heard of him?
He said Hussein.
Not one president, think of it, not one president charged China anything. They said, oh, they are a third world nation, they are developing. Well, we're a developing nation too. Take a look at Detroit. Take a look at our cities. We're a developing nation. We have to develop more than they do. We're way behind them. You take a look at what's happened to our cities. So what I'm saying is
my
this.
question was about your allies, not about China. You are going to annoy the people you need to rally behind you.
But our allies...
Rally behind me? Bro, these niggas need us to rally behind them. Fuck are you talking? I'm sorry, excuse my language, but what is he talking about? These people depend on us to pull up for them. If anybody attacks America, nobody's pulling up for us. But if somebody attack one of these people in Europe, we're pulling up for them. So I do not like this, oh, well, you need these people to rally behind you, dog. We don't need these people to fight for us. Trust me, we do the fighting for everybody else and ourselves. We just need them to do business and fair trade with us. That's it.
Have taken advantage of us more so than our enemies. Our allies are the European Union. We have a trade deficit of $300 billion with the European Union. Our allies are Japan. You know, Abe was a very good friend of mine. He was a great guy, great. And I said to him in Japan, he was assassinated. And he was a great man. He really was. I didn't see too many like him. And he got very sick and he had to take off, and then he was actually making a comeback. He was going to make a comeback and he would have won easily. But he was a great gentleman, handsome, wonderful man, respected by everybody. And I went to him and I said, Shinzo, we have to talk. What? Trade. And he goes, I'll never forget it. I know. I said, what do you know? I knew you'd come to me. Why do you say that? Because I can't believe, I wouldn't tell the story if he was alive, actually. Said, I can't believe how many years it's been that nobody even negotiated with us in America. I said, Shinzo, you have to pay for your cars. You're sending millions of cars. You don't accept a car from us. You don't have one car that you accept, and yet we're selling 3 million, 4 million of your cars. I said, Shinzo, on agriculture, you won't even accept our agriculture. And I renegotiated the whole trade deal from a little disadvantage because I was stuck with a bad deal. I mean, we have trade deals that were so bad that I said,
that is crazy to think that we were involved in all these one-sided trade deals. And that was kind of where Trump had started his campaign by saying, like, yeah, these companies these countries have been low-key getting off on us. Like, all wins for them, really no upside for us. Like, and I'm about to start taxing them. I'm about to start making them pay, and literally and figuratively.
And I keep telling you, I was like, bro, is as if the government made these trade deals as if we don't have no negotiating chips, as if we have, like, bro, we are the strongest, like, economy. You're telling me we don't have no negotiation. You're telling me Biden, Obama didn't have no negotiation for these people for a better trade?
As much as they want to admonish Trump for being, I'd say, diplomatic with these foreign leaders and having good relationships, it works to our benefit. And not being able to contact and connect with these people just only works to our detriment. So it's really funny to think that y'all want to hop on a president's ass for having good negotiation skills, being able to trade and deal with other foreign leaders when, I mean, that's half of the problem.
Yeah.
It's funny to think, honestly. It's really funny to think.
You know what's crazy is like having like presidents of the past work with the Soviet Union, you know, kumbaya and all that good stuff. And then as soon as this president does it, it's a problem. Like I never understood that. But
It just fits a narrative, I guess.
Trump bad, Russiagate.
The people that are doing it, they're either very stupid or they're getting paid off, okay? It's one or the other. It's very simple. We have the worst trade deals all over the world. South Korea, I love South Korea. They're wonderful people, extremely ambitious. They have a money machine. We protect them from North Korea and other people. North Korea is very nuclear. I got along with him very well, Kim Jong-un.
Yes.
But wait, they don't pay us anything. And I said, this is crazy.
Wait.
If I didn't put tariffs.
That's what I'm saying. It's like bro was talking about, oh, we need our people to rally behind us. I'm like, dog, we're protecting, I believe he said South Korea, and they don't pay us nothing for protection. It's like, whoever did that? Like, bro, we like, come on, bro. We damn near, no offense, but we got to give them mom style protection at this point. It's like, look, man, as long as you know, go ahead and pay us up some money, we'll go ahead and protect you from big bad Kim Jong. We got you. But we're not getting nothing for it. We're just doing it for free.
It's like I said, a lot of companies are benefiting from our protection, our services, trading with us.
Bro,
but it really doesn't do anything for the citizens. It really doesn't help us.
American people don't even get shit for free like that. Bro, much less free protection. Is like, what? Free military protection. Oh, man. I mean, man.
Big brother.
Crazy. Free military. Bro, we got to pay taxes to the police to get this protection. Did they get it for free, though? Okay.
Oh, man.
On, the motor companies, the car companies, they make most of their money at small trucks. I put tariffs on China, but I put 27.5%. Otherwise, we'd be flooded with Chinese cars, and all of our factories would close. We'd have no jobs at all in the auto industry. That goes for electric, by the way, which is a killer, which I've explained, and I don't think I have to bore anybody by talking about it. But I put tariffs on South Korea because they were sending in trucks, and I put tariffs on, fairly substantial tariffs. Do you know that our car companies make almost all of their money with the small trucks, SUVs and small trucks? If I took those tariffs on, you would be inundated. Every car company would be out of business. And I got calls from Ford. I got calls from everybody saying, sir, I can't believe you're doing this for us. You saved our company. They make all their money with this. They make most of their money with the small truck and, the SUVs.
Many consumers ended up with more expensive cars. But let me just come at you on foreign policy.
You wouldn't have a car company.
You have said that Taiwan should pay for U.S. protection.
Yeah.
I ask because this morning you just mentioned North Korea. The Chinese army, literally as we speak, are engaged in rehearsals for a full naval blockade of Taiwan. So I suppose my question to you, if China invades Taiwan, would you send American troops to defend it?
Well, the reason they're doing it now is they're not going to do it afterwards, okay? So so they're doing it now.
Yeah, that's a developing situation, a very precarious situation if you look at it. Like, that's been threatened as long as I've heard about this Ukrainian-Russia conflict.
But here's the thing, though.
China invading Taiwan?
Yeah, man, and everybody's been moving on. Well, since Biden was in presidency, it seemed like all of our adversaries been getting a little bold as soon as Biden stepped into office, as if they knew something we didn't.
I mean, I'll just say point blank, period. Like, the aggression has escalated, and it can be directly correlated to the current administration and when they got in office. Weak leadership just leads to, I guess, our adversaries thinking it's green light. It's open season. Like, what you mean? Old man Sleepy Joe at the wheel? Oh, yeah, let's do it.
And shout out Fox Chase, man. He said, yeah, we're going to give up American lives for free protection. Exactly. For free?
Those who get it, bro. Like, talking about, oh, what we mean? We're keeping peace in the region by having them in our back pocket.
Bro, they can at least pay us just in case a soldier gets killed. We could pay their family off or something. It's like, what the hell we doing this for?
Like, it has to be mutually beneficial. Like, that's my only thing. Like, it has to be mutually beneficial. And if it's not, then why are we maintaining that relationship as is? And shout out Trump for realizing, like, hey, hold on. This is bleeding us. It's benefiting them. Like, we kind of got to change the dynamic a little bit. Like,
for free? I'm still stuck on that part. For free, though.
I don't understand how it could work any other way. Like, it's America, big dog, #1 world power. Like, we ain't gonna keep pouring into other people's glass and think we're gonna keep that position. Like, nah, this shit gotta revolve around us. Like, I don't know if y'all understand, in order to maintain that #1 dominant position, this shit gotta revolve around us, not the other way around.
They want to do China. Look, I I had a very good relationship with President Xi, and a very good relationship with Putin, and a very good relationship with Kim Jong-un, who has a nuclear force that you won't even believe. And by the way, today it was announced for those that he just blew up the railroad going into South Korea. That means South Korea is now cut off from Russia and China and various other places. Cut off by rail.
Mr. Trump, you just mentioned.
No, but
Putin.
these are big things. I have to mention them.
Yeah, you just mentioned Putin, though, and this has been this controversy of the past week. Can you say yes or no whether you have talked to Vladimir Putin since you stopped being president?
Well, I don't comment on that, but I will tell you that if I did, it's a smart thing. If I'm friendly with people, if I have a relationship with people.
Hold on, Trump. That was a crazy response. I like it though. He said, "Well, I'm not gonna have comment to that, but if I was though, wouldn't that be the best thing right now? Like, wouldn't it be good for me to already be like, talking to this man to get things solved? Like, wouldn't that be the best thing? Kamala hasn't done it, and that's her job as vice president is to handle foreign relations. But hey, though, I guess it's effort when it comes to Kamala. I guess, you know what? Kamala don't gotta do nothing. And shout out Clifton Lloyd, man. He says America first, man. Appreciate you, big dog.
And quick pause for the cause, man, because we got over 2,000 of y'all currently in here, man. Hopefully y'all enjoying the conversation. I see a lot of y'all chiming in the chat. Well, let's do us a favor, man. Like the video, double tap the screen. You could also hit the 3 buttons in the upper right-hand corner. Let's get some more folks in here on the conversation. Increase the discourse, man. And more people need to hear this. So like the video, y'all. And shout out Monek. Hopefully
I thought it was Moni.
Hopefully I'm not butchering it, bro. But appreciate that super sticker. Ain't got too much to say. Just wanted to show some support.
Appreciate you, man.
Since you stopped being president.
100 likes, y'all. Double tap that screen. Let's do it.
If I did, it's a smart thing. If I'm friendly with people, if I have a relationship with people, that's a good thing, not a bad thing, in terms of a country. He's got 2,000 nuclear weapons, and so do we. China has a lot less, but they'll catch us within 5 years.
That sounds very much like you did talk to him.
I don't talk about that.
You talk about talking to Netanyahu. You talk about talking to these.
So what'll be wrong with talking to Putin? I grill that dude. I'm like, what's wrong with talking to Putin? This man is out here unaliving Ukrainian lives, and I'm not supposed to talk to him, try to get him to stop? Like, what you want me to do? Go to war with this man that could bomb us into the next century? Like, what? What do you want me to do? I'd have to ask him, how do you think this is going to go over? If you was to meet Putin, what you going to? I demand you to stop doing this. He's going to look you dead in your face and tell you to walk out his door before he kill you. It's like, unless you have any type of negotiating skills, like Trump does, he's going to be like, look, dog, it's either you sit down or we're going to make it hard for you. And all we got to do with Ukraine is just stop sending the money, and they're going to sit their ass down immediately.
Russia has never had a president that they respect so much, but more importantly, or less importantly, I guess, I went into Russia and people said, oh, he likes Putin and Putin likes him. Let me tell you, the first thing I did was terminated Nord Stream 2. Nobody ever heard of Nord Stream 2. It's a pipeline from Russia to Germany and all over Europe. I said,
and shout out Marshall and Gamer, man. Any new lies Kamala Harris has been caught in? Yes, there has. And Obama, too. We even got a lot that Obama's been caught in. Marshall and Gamer, we got a lot. Trust me, this is going to be a fun one.
Wait a minute, to NATO. I said, so let's get this straight. My first meeting, I said, so Putin's building the biggest pipeline in the world. He's going to Germany, but all over Europe. And you're paying him billions of dollars a year, billions of dollars a month. Germany's paying billions of dollars a month. And we're supposed to protect you against the guy that you're paying all this money to. So is there something wrong with my thinking? So he's building a pipeline to Germany, and we're spending, and by the way, until I got there, we were spending almost 100% for NATO because we had all these delinquent countries. They weren't paying. When I got there, I said, you know what? And by the way, my biggest fan is Stoltenberg, just leaving, Secretary General of NATO. He said when Bush came in, he made a speech and left. When Obama came in, he made a speech and left. When Trump came in, he made a speech and he said, let me see your books. And I found out in the books that nobody was paying. There were only 7 countries that were paying. We were supporting NATO. They screw us on trade so bad, the European nations.
Oh, yeah, Martian Gamer, what's up, dog? Good to see you.
So they're taking a tremendous advantage of us, $350 billion. on trade, and we're then supporting them. In other words, it's not sustainable. You can't keep doing this. You can't have that, China, all of these countries. And stupid people made these deals. I saw trade deals that were so stupid.
And shout out Eli for the $2 super chat, bro. We appreciate the support. And that was your first super chat on a live stream. We appreciate that honor, my friend. Man, let's keep it going. He had too much to say. Just wanted to show some support. Appreciate you, man.
That you'd have to be, excuse me, that was so bad that you'd have to be an idiot to sign them. And we signed them for years. We had. I could tell you trade deals that I have never seen anything. I said, who would agree to this? They had to be corrupt. They had to be corrupt. To make those deals, they had to be corrupt because there is no way a rational human being, I always say either corrupt or extremely stupid, because there's no way a rational human being would ever sign the trade deals that this country signed. And I got out of many of those deals. I told South Korea, I'm sorry, you're going to have to pay for your military. We have 40,000 troops over there.
Damn.
You're going to have to pay. You become a very wealthy country. Just to finish, you become a very wealthy. They said, no, we will not pay. We will not. We haven't paid since the Korean War.
Cool.
I said, no, you got to pay. I said, would $5 billion a year to start off with? No. They went crazy. They agreed to $2. I got $2 billion for nothing. And I said, here's what we're going to do. They said, we can't agree to this because we have to go through Parliament. They have the Parliament or whatever their legislature is. I said, that's okay. I fully understand that. Make it $2 billion. But next year I'm going to talk to you again. And I was going to make it $5 billion. And they knew it was coming. The happiest people to see that it was Biden instead of Trump with them, South Korea. You know what they did? They cut off the deal that I made where they were paying us. They backed to nothing because they went back to Biden and they gave it to him for nothing. They were willing to pay. We have 40,000 troops in harm's way, very serious, because you have North Korea is a very serious power. They have tremendous nuclear power. And I said to South Korea, you got to pay.
The one N word you should never say.
Yeah.
Nuclear.
And they agreed to do it. And Biden then cut it back, and it's a shame. And I could tell you 50 deals. And if I were there now, they'd be paying us $10 billion a year. And you know what? They'd be happy to do it. It's a money machine, South Korea. You're going to mention Taiwan. You wanted to mention Taiwan.
No, you mentioned Taiwan. You said you would defend them. You also seemed to imply that on Putin, you would not. Putin, you seemed to imply that you had talked to him without actually confirming it.
I said I don't comment on those things.
What about, can I ask you a particular thing about the dollar? You talked about
he said I don't comment on those things, but he said if I was though, I mean, I don't see the problem.
Why would he? With the allegations of Russian collusion, that he's best friends, butt buddies with this man.
Yeah,
him commenting on the situation is probably him not commenting on the situation is probably the smartest thing he can do given the situation. Everybody already says he's colluding with Russia. Everybody else already says he got Russia in his back pocket. Like, nah, I just ain't gonna talk about it for real.
Yeah.
When I get in office though, watch what I do. That's the best case. That's the best thing he could say.
First thing you do, hopping off is, all right, I talked to Putin and we're in the wars. Shout out.
Like, you talked to him already? Like, hell yeah, man. I got this nigga number on speed dial, man. What y'all thought? It's Big T in the chat.
Like, what you mean, bro? You thought I've been over for Putin, bro. Putin been over for me. Stop the war.
For me.
Hey, you know what's going down.
Big Wave Dave, what's up?
Hey. You said that if you lost the dollar.
And shout out Clifton Lloyd, man. The establishment hates Trump because he's not a politician. He's a businessman, and he took care of it. Facts.
Man, facts. And y'all talking about a businessman don't know how tariffs work. Like,
bro,
knee slapper.
Bro, and here's the problem thing. America doesn't need to be ran like a business because it is a business you can constantly fail in, but still somehow make a profit.
As a reserve currency, it would be like America losing a war.
Yeah,
a businessman doesn't know how applied tariffs work.
Drive countries to use
the irony
currencies, and all that debt is also going to lessen the dollar's status as the world's reserve currency. Don't you worry about that?
The dollar is so secure. Your reserve currency is the strongest it'll ever be. And
you say that, President Trump. At the moment, there is a thing called the Trump trade in the markets. Do you know what that is? The Trump trade is very simple. People are betting that your policies are going to drive up debt, they're going to drive up inflation, so they're going to drive up interest rates. Are the investors wrong?
Yeah, I had 4 years no inflation. I had 4 years no inflation.
But that was when you had much.
I had 4 years. It's better than that. And Biden, who has no idea where the hell he is, okay? Biden went 2 years with no inflation because he inherited from me. And then they started spending money like drunken sailors. They spent so much money. It was so ridiculous, the money they were spending. They were spending on the Green New Scam. The Green New Deal. You know, it was conceived of by AOC +3. She never even studied the environment.
And shout out to Marshall Land Gamer Man. We actually saw some of our best presidents were businessmen like Teddy Roosevelt. Actually some of our best presidents were businessmen. You are actually right about that. And it kind of seems, bro, because America's a business at the end of the day, just a business with a military force.
They ain't hate Teddy Roosevelt, though. It's just the narrative painted against this man. It's the popular thing to hate Trump. So
they don't want another Teddy Roosevelt.
He could literally come out with any policy that, I mean, if economists or professionals looked at it and decided it was a benefit for America, the people would still hate him. It's Trump. It's not the policy. It's not the plan. It's the man behind it.
You know what kills me? If you honestly wanted to prove his plan wrong, why didn't you have like a board or something, like some type of diagram, a PowerPoint presentation? Like, all right, look, you said you were going to do this, right? So if you do this to this product, this is what's going to happen. And this is what we came to the conclusion. So what do you think about that? Isn't that a more honest way of just saying, well, some random economist that could be left-leaning just said, it's Trump, so it's going to add to the deficit. Like, bro, and then you look up some of what the economist has said, and then they're just going off the fact that he's Trump. And I'm just like, wait, what? Well, where's the backup of this? You're an economist. You're supposed to be able to break this down to me, like, industry by industry, market by market, product by product.
Bro, it's exactly as I said. It's not the policy. It's not the plan. It's the man behind it. And they just hate him, and they really just, I mean,
I don't know, man. Maybe I'm asking for too much numbers, but I'm a numbers guy. And if you're going to tell me something, you better be able to bring me the numbers to prove that.
They just disagree with this man so strongly. Like I said, it goes beyond the numbers. It goes beyond the policy. It's just anything this man would say, they would low-key be against. Orange man bad, TDS. It rots these people's brain, bro.
Like, how is he going to add to the deficit? Just don't say it. Explain it. Tell me, how is he going to add to the deficit? If you're just saying it, then like, all right, you're just playing on the ignorance of most people who just think that, oh, if an economist says it is true, but I know better. Shoot. So, bro, some of these college professors be bullshit. So by knowing that, I'm just like, yeah, maybe I want to investigate this a little deeper.
Environment in college. She went to a nice college.
Fact check the facts is what I like to say.
She came out. She just said the Green New Scam. She just named all these things.
President Trump, the issue at the moment, the markets are looking at the facts. You are making all these promises. Latest one was car loans. You're flooding the thing with giving giveaways.
But we're
I was actually quite kind to you. I used 7 trillion. The upper estimate is 15 trillion. People like the Wall Street Journal, who's
all right, where are you getting those numbers from?
Hardly a communist organization.
Yeah, but you don't know.
They have criticized you on this as well. You are running up enormous debt.
What does the Wall Street Journal know? I'm meeting with them tomorrow. What does the Wall Street Journal know? They've been wrong about everything. So have you, by the way.
Hey.
You've been wrong about
You're trying to turn this.
Hey.
You're trying to turn this.
You've been wrong.
No, you're trying to turn this into debate. There are business people. There are business people.
You're wrong. You've been wrong all your life on this stuff.
All your life is
Let me
crazy.
tell you about currency. You're going jumping a lot of different subjects.
Whilst you're sticking to the subject very
let's
closely.
stick to reserve currency. That's where you started, right? The reserve currency is under threat.
Bro, you've been wrong since you hopped out the womb.
You have Russia, you have China. China's the one that you have to worry about because they want it.
Yeah.
They want to have the yuan be the thing of power. So here's what I'm doing. Again, I hate to go back to it. If somebody says, and I know countries want to get out because they don't respect our leadership. They look at this guy, they say, you got to be kidding. And she's worse than him. By the way, I never thought.
Shout out Martian Gamer coming in with 20, man. You know anything above 20 is a baller alert here at St. Key Media.
Appreciate
man.
the
Your
support.
bomb, and let me get you your Don DeMarco, dog. You want to read that offset?
Yeah, gotcha, big dog. And he says, yes, it is important to vote, not with your emotions, but with your common sense. Past experience says Trump has ran this country the best, whereas everywhere Kamala has been nothing but failures. And yeah, we're talking about
well said.
San Francisco, as DA, AG, California as a whole, and America as VP, and well, Ukraine as VP and supposed to be head of foreign relations.
Oh, don't forget the border czar position she was appointed to by none other than her running mate Biden.
So yep, all failures, all failures,
massive failure.
Let's say this. She is not as smart as Biden, if you can believe it. This is not what we had 4 years of this lunacy, and we can't have it anymore. We're not going to have a country left. Okay, currency, very important.
Yes.
And if you want to go to third world status, lose your reserve currency. We have to have that. We cannot lose it. If you you'll go to third world status in this country because you take a look at the way things are running. If a country tells me, sir, we like you very much, but we're going to no longer adhere to being in the reserve currency. We're not going to salute the dollar anymore. I'll say that's okay. And you're going to pay a 100% tariff on everything you sell into the United States. And we love your product. I hope you sell a lot of it into the United States, but you're going to pay 100% tariff. He will then follow it up by saying, sir, it would be an honor to stay with the reserve currency. That will be like just playing. That's not even chess, that's checkers. But you don't have listen to this. You don't have other people that can talk that way. You know, a lot of people say, we love Trump's policy, but we would like to have another messenger because we don't like him. He's a little bit crass. And then, actually, it was Lindsey Graham, I must say. He was a progressive, in all fairness. But Lindsey Graham said, but Trump's policy doesn't work without Trump. And there's a lot of truth to that. Macron was going to, nice guy, Emmanuel. He's a wise guy, but he's for France, and we're for the USA. You know this story. He was going to tax American companies doing business in France, a very substantial tax. And I told my people, I didn't even like the companies, but I'm representing American companies. And so I said, call Macron and call his people and say, we're not going to stand for that. And I got Mnuchin and, a lot of guys, smart guys, if I can finish. Yeah. I'll go longer if you want.
No, I was going to ask you about the Federal Reserve.
You got to be able to finish a thought because it's very important. This is big stuff we're talking about. You can't go that quickly.
You've gone from the dollar to
So let me just tell you. So I said, no, I'm just telling you basic, it's called the weave. It's all these different things happening. Yeah. So let me just say. So I said to Mnuchin,
calm down, my friend.
Call him up and say, no way. He did, and he came back.
Yeah, man, shout out Clifton Lloyd. Trump is the truth, man. Get the fuck out of here. I'm telling you, bro, was just like crossing my arms. You're wrong. You're wrong. And you've been wrong this whole time. I'm just like, yeah, because bro haven't told me anything, and I know economics well enough to be like, yeah, well, come on, dog, explain how it is. Like, you're not going to use any type of economic lingo to go over our heads here, and if you do, we're not lazy to the point where we're just not going to look it up.
To see me, he said, they won't do it, sir, it's too late.
Some of y'all, though, but not us.
I said to somebody else, you call me. Then I said, let me do it. And I called him. And I said, Emmanuel, you're taxing American companies very substantially. You're not doing it with other companies. You must think we're stupid. It's not going to happen. But Donald, I cannot do anything. It's too late. Or it was approved by a legislature. I said, that's okay. Here's the story. Every bottle of wine and champagne that you send into the United States, effective immediately, and I'm signing it as I speak, I'm charging you 100% on every bottle of wine and champagne. They like the wine and champagne,
That's
right?
hella biased.
Every bottle of wine and champagne that comes into the United States of America has a tax on, starting on Monday.
And shout out Eli, man. What's your point of view on the RFK joining forces with the Trump campaign to go after big pharma and big foods? Well, honestly, I think he could do it. Look, if RFK want his plan to go down, it's the best camp to go under is Trump. He's trying to go in there and cut regulations, but also, keep the forest intact. Go in there and cut some regulations, but also stop big pharma and the FDA. And I'm gonna be real with you. I think the hardest one to stop would probably be big pharma. Big pharma is gonna be his hardest one to stop because there's just so much money. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it. I honestly feel like he went with Donald Trump. One, because that was the only person actually wanted to listen to him, because the Harris camp told him, nah, I ain't even trying to listen to you. He went over to Trump. He got a word in. They like what he was talking about. They're like, yeah, you can have a spot on here. And I trust RFK with the environment and the food and Big Pharma. Why? Because he's been fighting this for like years, especially with the environment, being an environmental lawyer and all that good stuff.
Monday morning, this was a
appreciate you, Eli.
Friday of 100%. And that's better than you're doing, okay? And he said, no, you cannot do that.
I'm weak.
I said,
No.
I've done it. It's already signed. Monday morning goes, may I call you back? Yes, he calls me back in about 3 minutes. We have decided to remove the tax from the companies. I did this all day long, but you don't have. You think Biden does that? I don't think so.
Let me change. Let me ask you a very factual question. The Federal Reserve.
Yeah.
You say you don't want interest rates to go higher. You've gone backwards and forwards about whether you want to keep Jerome Powell as chair of the Federal Reserve. His term as chair runs on to May 2026. Would you seek to remove or demote him?
Look, I think it's the greatest job in government. You show up to the office once a month and you say, let's see, flip a coin. And everybody talks about you like you're a god. Oh, what will he do? I mean, before, the guy used to walk into my office, he was like begging. Oh, he was fine.
But you did talk about you talked about removing him once.
I did, because he was keeping the rates too high.
Yeah.
And I was right.
And you would do that again?
In fact, he actually dropped them too much when I did this. Because I said I was threatening to terminate him. There was a question as to whether or not you could. And there was an article in the New York Times, 2 half pages. 1 page said I can do it by lawyers. 1 half page said I.
All right, and shout out Zachary Miller, man, for the $5 super chat. First time supporting on the channel, man. We appreciate the support. Hey, man. Hey, I got a cousin named Zachary. And shout out Zachary. Appreciate you, man.
I couldn't, and that was enough for him. And he dropped the hell out of the rates. He dropped them too much. He went so, he dropped them actually too much. Okay. Here's the story. I think that if you're a very good president with good sense, you should be able to at least talk to him. I don't say make the decision at all, but I mean, I've been a very successful businessman. I've done really good, much better. Now people are understanding how good I've done because they're seeing it. Much better than the fake news wants to give me credit for.
Just on
really
the issue
good,
of whether you would replace
I think I have the right to say, as a very good businessman and somebody that's used a lot of sense, I think I have the right to say that, you know, I think I'm better than he would be. I think I'm better than most people would be in that position. I think I have the right to say I think you should go up or down a little bit. I don't think I should be allowed to order it, but I think I have the right to put in comments as to whether or not interest rates should go up or down.
When you looked at the Supreme Court, you came up with a list of people
I did.
who you thought of replacing, bringing in as Supreme Court justices. Yeah. Would you do that with the Federal Reserve?
Well, I no longer need it. It was a great thing. In fact, a lot of people said I got elected because of that. I was an unknown quantity. I was very known as a business guy, but I wasn't known as a political person or the leader of a country. And people were very worried about, you know,